Textureless Terry, I thought I'd never have to see your ugly mug again. This is my cave of contingency, where I keep everything I need for a large threat. Alright, well, I guess I gotta start preparing for this battle. Here, I'd like you to meet my new friends, who are also combat machines. Right here is Robo-Poly Levi. Next up right here is Mecha Levi. Finally, we have my most perfect creation, Metal Levi.
You were saying something?
Super Mario World is considered by many a 2D platformer connoisseur to be one of the best of the genre. It is pure, unadulterated fun and happiness. However, on the internet it has a little bit of a different reputation. Alongside Super Mario 64, I'm pretty sure it's the most ROM-hacked Mario game ever. While many ROM hacks for Mario World are nothing more than just extra levels, there's also a lot of hacks that are a bit more sinister. Hacks made to scare you. Two of the greatest and most well-known examples are the Mario hack and I Hate You. However, both of these hacks are wildly overdone. I've heard about them too many times to count. So today, I'm going over some other hacks. So let's strap in as we start with... Number 0, Iggy's Castle, is a very mysterious hack. On SMW Central, the only bit of description given is that it's a castle level of the game. However, I'm sure you'll be able to guess through context clues that that's not all that it is. When starting the game, we are indeed at the castle. However, as soon as Mario enters, there's a flash of light and we see a creepy smiling face. After that though, the game goes back to normal. However, we can see some blood dripping from this block, and oh yeah, that ain't normal. We run in this dark red room before falling down a pit, and this face slowly fades in. Once we drop all the way down, we're in this blood-soaked room. I went to this door and it said something about a flashlight, so I went exploring elsewhere. I found this super bloody room with all these buzzsaws and thwomps, and it was honestly pretty precarious, but nothing I couldn't handle. After finding 3 locked doors in a row, I realized I was, again, not supposed to be here, meaning I did all this amazing platforming for nothing. So I went into another room and was immediately rushed by this smiling face, and the lights cut, and it was revealed that it was really just a shopkeeper dude. I noticed he had the flashlight that was previously mentioned, but he said he'd need 10,000 coins for it, so I haggled with him and got it down to 100, which I was easily able to buy. Now I was able to go into that dark room, and yeah, it's dark. You can only see what's in this small little circle around you. It makes jumping around a lot harder. I also had to avoid all these bloody boos, and there was this super high jump over spikes that I had to make, and when I finally did make it, there was this stupid boo waiting right there for me, and I had to do it again. This guy better know it's on site now. He's made an op out of me. Eventually, I broke these blocks and fell down this pit, and I had to operate this elevator type thing to get up there. Then I had to find another up arrow button to move another rock to get into this red door. When I entered, I saw this horrifying face and was put into this weird boss fight where I had to push this rock and avoid all these boos and stuff. It was weird. After I defeated him, I was now doing some more crazy platforming, after which I exited through this door and I was back in the buzzsaw room. After escaping back up, I went back to the shopkeeper, and there was this weird, bloody, fleshy key for 0 coins, so I picked that up as I was sure I would need it. I went through another door I had missed earlier and found this weird blue room. I lost my cape to a thwomp getting this spring and was able to find yet another key. After finding yet another door, I was in this weird green room, and honestly, I'd be scared if it didn't look so cool. I had to avoid these thwomps who were able to chase me, and these were honestly super difficult to deal with. I was using and abusing the save states, I'm not gonna lie. Look at this BS. He went back up after starting the animation to go downward and immediately hit me. What is this garbage? After getting successfully rage baited, I was in this dark gray room, and the shopkeeper's music was playing, albeit heavily distorted, and his dialogue kept showing up, again, very distorted. Just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, this terrifying face started chasing me, and I had to deal with more thwomps. TSPMO, I'm not gonna lie. After successfully avoiding all of the thwomps, the door was finally in reach, until he just rushed me for no reason and I couldn't do anything, and I got the bad ending. I know the hack has other endings, but if you want to see them, you're going to have to play it for yourself, because honestly, this hack was really difficult for me. I don't know why. I mean, it had some good platforming, and the horror bits were pretty cool, but the stupid chasing thwomps that move at 1,000,000 miles per hour, yeah, they gotta go. Well, that hack might have been difficult, but what was even more difficult was this next hack, which is... This hack on SMW Central is simply titled game.bps, with bps being the file extension used by most Mario World hacks. The game starts with this little bit of exposition. Mario finds himself in a dark, abandoned mansion. Will he be able to find a way out before time will consume him? Well, I guess we'll have to find out. Just like stated in the start, Mario is in a mansion. There's some bloody booze around, and when I entered through this door, I accidentally slipped down these stairs, and honestly, this death animation really creeped me out the first time. It was really loud, and this scary Mario sprite is a nice touch. When you die, you're sent back to the beginning, so honestly, again, I used and abused the save system. The first room I went through was the basement. There were a lot of enemies and spikes around, which made it really difficult, but at the end I was able to find this light switch, and now the mansion was lit up, but now I had to do it all backwards. Once back up, I went through this... What I meant to say was, I went through this... What I really meant was, after finally making my way through all these stupid enemies, I went up here and found this mushroom. It looked pretty weird, but I collected it anyway. I went through this door and... Well, after pissing my pants, I went through this door on the right and was on this elevator. There's blood on the wall spelling the word die, and honestly, again, look at this BS. The boos will go invisible for a sec before coming back in a random spot, all the while there's these stupid boos bouncing around the place. Eventually, though, I did make it through, and I was in this torturer's room. There's a ton of blood and a ton of more stupid hard platforming, not to mention the floor was slippery, which made it 10 times harder. Like, honestly, I know I keep saying this, but this is a load of BS. At the end of the room, though, I was able to find this broken key, and after I collected it, this terrifying face showed up on my screen, and there were these big boos chasing me, and I had to do the platforming all over again, but backwards. But I was actually able to clutch this and make it first try. Maybe I am cracked at Mario after all. Now I was able to open the previously locked door, and there's this terrifying scream as I have to avoid all these enemies. At the end of the hall, I was able to enter the garden, and there was, again, a ton of enemies. But it seemed that there wasn't anything to do here, and I was honestly stuck in the game for about 20 minutes, and I had to look up a guide. It turns out, in the garden, this end of the bridge is a little bit of a different color, and I was supposed to spin jump to break it. How I was ever supposed to figure that out, I don't know, but I was now in the underground. It's very maze-like, but nothing too bad. After jumping with a spring, I escaped back into the dining room, and was now able to get this red key that was previously inaccessible. I went exploring more, and I eventually made it into this weird red room, and I found this large door, but it was blocked by an invisible force field, meaning I was once again not in the right area, so I had to run around more to find where I'm actually supposed to go. I was able to find this new area with some more enemies and spikes, and after pulling my hair out, I made it into the trophies room and found this creepy Mario statue head thing. After exiting, though, there was this terrifying face chasing me, and honestly, this did jump scare me, I'm not gonna lie. Thankfully, though, I knew where I needed to go due to one of my previous cases of getting lost, so I went back through the garden and was able to open this door and make it to the tower. However, not only are there multiple vine jumps, which are the bane of my existence, there are so many boos everywhere. This took me 10 whole minutes. I hate this section with every bit of hate I have in my body. If I ever find the dev who made this game, I'm going to kindly suggest that they please balance their hacks better. Anyway, at the end of the section, you get a potion, and also I now had to do the vine jump section backwards, so there's another 5 minutes of my time gone. Also, there's blood rain now, so that's pretty cool. Now I was able to go back to that invisible force field, but because of the potion, I could now cross through. Once I entered, though, I got this weird dialogue screen. After that, I was put into a runway, and as I went, it got darker and darker, and hey, that's the face from the Mario hack. Cool jump scare. After the jump scare, however, we're now in one of the most difficult boss fights I've ever had to play. You have to stomp on a Koopa to get the shell to throw at the big boo, all the while there's all this crap flying across the screen, not to mention the floor is slippery. Move over, Elden Ring. Millennia ain't got nothing compared to this. After about 15 minutes and 1 billion save states, I beat it. I got the key, and I won the game. I do kind of enjoy this hack. It's fun at times, the atmosphere and scares are pretty great, to be honest, but I just did not have a lot of fun playing it. Maybe I'm just a noob, but man, this hack was hard. Hard to the point of annoyance. Anyway, how about we move on to a very different hack called Eyeless is a very experimental hack, if you ask me. The game starts with an eyeless Mario standing in a void with nothing but the words, "Get your eyes back." It's honestly kind of threatening. Actually, getting into the game, we have to go down this pit and through this door, and once we do, we're in a very dark room. I'm sure you've already noticed, but everything is monochrome. Space Hamster said it best when he was talking about the game in one of his videos.
But there are a bunch of different reskins for all the sprites, which all kind of centers around this theme of not having eyes and what that might look like in a visual representation, without it just being a black screen, you know?
Alongside the great visuals, there's also this great ambient music. It's kind of creepy, but not overly loud and scary. At the start of the game, there's all these doors that you can go through, so I went through this first door. There were these reskinned big boos and even some regular boos that I had to avoid while jumping around. After this, there was this weird section where I had to keep repeating the same bit of platforming over and over again and keep entering the marked door, after which I was in this pitch black room where I could only see whatever was lit up by this disco ball type thing. It was a bit difficult, but you know I used and abused those save states. At the end, we hit a block and are hinted about how light can show the hidden truth behind darkness, which, yeah, I kind of figured that out, but thanks anyway. I went through this next door and fell down this pit, and I had to do some P-switch platforming. This was honestly the hardest part of the game, if I'm being honest. Having to do this precision platforming before the P-switch timer runs out, and also having to avoid this big boo. It was tough, but since the rest of the game was well balanced, I didn't get too bad, you know? After finally completing it, I was able to cross the gap from earlier, but it just led me back to the start. I decided to just go to the next door anyway. The room was very dark and there were these Mecha Koopas all around. When I found a light switch, I was able to now see the doors in the room. Honestly, I kind of had to brute force my way into finding the correct door, so I'll just skip over that. At the end, I was in this small room, and going through this last door, I was just at the start again, so I moved on to the next door. But there was an impassable wall of munchers. After honestly getting stuck and looking up what to do, I went into this secret door and got this secret mushroom so I could tank a hit from the munchers and go up this pipe. After which, text showed up saying eyes cannot be retrieved, and after going through this door, the screen went black, and all I could do was close the game. Honestly, I really like the game's atmosphere. It's more so creepy than it is scary, and I enjoy that. It's very well balanced, and I enjoy the platforming challenges. Also, the ending is very mysterious, and the way the screen goes black and all you can do is close the game really creeps me out. Alright, now I think it's time for the final hack of the day, which is... On SMW Central, one of the most well-liked horror hacks is simply called The, but it's also known as Coronation Day. Loading into the game, Mario is in a forest, a text box above him simply asking, "Again?" On the overworld map, we can see the weird forest, and Mario isn't even on a level, he's just in the middle of these woods. Choosing to go in anyway, we see this foggy forest, there's tons of Monty moleholes all over the place, and even stranger, there's candles, suggesting that these woods are somewhat inhabited. Mario's movement is extremely limited, he can't run and he can't even jump that high. As we go through, it gets darker and darker, and we see strange things popping up repeatedly. We get hit by a text box. Have you heard the good news? Yeah, I have heard the good news, actually. My buddy Kyle told me about this new Miku song called Radiant Revival, and oh boy, is it catchy. I was even listening to it while writing this. Also, the music video is so good, dude. It's so colorful and nice, not to mention it's low poly, like me. Everybody comment, thanks Levi's buddy Kyle. I'm gonna listen to Radiant Revival right now as well. Anyway, Miku news out of the way. Why are there tons of bloody carcasses everywhere? Well, honey, he pulled the plug. Am I supposed to know what that means? Oh, hey, look, there's a dino. Oh! Why is there seaweed everywhere now? Is this an underwater level? Oh, that look is precious. You'll make it big for sure. What is even going on? I believe I am the god of this forest. Are you looking for me? I am the one that... Again? When I went back, the fog was now much denser, and it got darker way faster. There was this weird Mario silhouette, and by lining it up just right, we get a message saying, "The Heart," whatever that means. There's also all these Marios standing around, and by panning the camera to the right, we see these markings saying nothing but the word him over and over again. That's 2 mentions of someone only referred to as him or he, likely referring to that god of the forest mentioned earlier. Once we approach the Marios, they disappear. But by going through this bloody door, we're now put into a treehouse. The roof collapsed and a body on the floor. By going in the door, we're in this underwater-like area with nothing around. Oh gosh, who is this guy? I tried yelling at him so he would go away, but my voice was gone. Now he's just staring at me through the window above and... Again? Now I was back in the first loop, so this time I decided I was successfully going to avoid the Peach creature. After some more, say it with me, using and abusing the save states, I was able to jump my way through all these Peach monsters, and at the end I had to jump down this hole. Now we're in this very glitchy area, though we can make out a couple things. We can see a strange blue version of Peach, there's some text boxes that we saw earlier, and most importantly, there's hearts everywhere, which makes me think of that text box from earlier simply saying, the heart. Mario is also creepy now, just thought I should mention. We get another text box saying, you bow to me, crook, which sounds like something a crazy murderer forest god would say. At the end, we're now back in the level, but as Peach, and there's a golden hue to the fog. There's also now living dino guys, but we'll change that pretty fast. The ambient creepy music picks up, and we can hear the main motif of Mario World hidden within it. There's a series of text boxes that show up. Crown her. Oh yes, now's the time. Go back and show them who you really are. Interesting. You really had no idea, did you? You built it. And after that, you... tried. We start again as Mario, but we're in a new loop now. Hey honey, come over here a minute. What do you think? Isn't that color a little harsh now? No. He loves red. The game puts us next to a blood lake. By panning the camera, we see a corrupted Peach, and I can't exactly make out the text below her, but it looks to say, I watch. At this point, there's nothing you can do but quit the game. However, there is one more secret ending. If you go back to when you were playing as Peach, and you go back when it tells you to, you'll fall through the bridge and restart again. Now Mario is big and falls through a large drop, and we get this weird montage of him building the treehouse from earlier, and we're told that they love it, and the game blacks out again, with the only option being to quit. Overall, this game has some really great scares, and is very ominous and mysterious. It leaves a lot up to interpretation. There's definitely something to do with an evil, likely demonic force in the forest, and I believe he kills Peach and then uses her body as a vessel. With the name Coronation Day and the text saying to crown her, it's likely this was some sort of ritual to take control of her body. As for the house building thing, yeah, I got no clue. Also, I just really like the atmosphere in this hack. The fog offers a bit of ambience, and the color changing being able to tell you whether or not you're in a new area is a nice touch. Also, most of the scares were subtle. None of them were super loud and in your face. Definitely the best Mario World horror ROM hack, if you ask me, and I'm willing to bet that a lot of people will agree with me. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video, but don't leave yet, because I have some cool news. If you're a fan and want a chance to be featured at the end of some of my videos, you can send some fan art to this email on screen, and every video I'll pick out a couple to feature. Only rules are you can't use AI art and it can't be inappropriate, you know. Also, I made a TikTok, so you can go follow me there, link in my channel about page. If you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you'd press that like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment if you think you have something to say. With all that being said, I've been Lopala Levi, you've been a great viewer, and...
Honestly, they put up a better fight than I expected. You, however, are proving to be quite the disappointment. I expected better, especially with that bionic combat suit.
You son of a...
Pick your last words carefully.
I'm about to pull a Rexplode. I hope you didn't think that was me. Those drones weren't entirely meant for combat, especially that little replica of me. They were mainly made as a distraction and a big explosion. Also, I brought friends. Now, time for an all-out attack!